Charlotte, welcome to Halloween Daily. Thank you so much for hanging out and talking to us today.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.
Well, I'm excited to talk about Natty Knocks, of course. I've been talking it up for since we saw it earlier this year, and we've been covering it since it was first announced, and one of my favorite movies of the year. But before we even get into that, if you'll indulge us for a minute,
Yeah.
I know we just celebrated Thanksgiving, and a lot of people are looking forward to other holidays right now, but it's always Halloween for us here.
Yeah.
Every day, it never ends. So I'm going to start there if it's all right and just ask, how was your Halloween this year? Did you do anything exciting or just kind of hang low?
I did. I actually went out in New York City, which was a little crazy, but
I
it was
bet.
fun. Yeah, it was nice. It was a rowdy night, but it was fun.
Awesome. That does sound fun. I've never done Halloween night in New York City, but I hear it's pretty
It's
intense and awesome.
definitely crazy. Yeah, it was my first time, so first time for everything.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Now, do you have fond memories growing up of Halloween? Is you and your family, is it something you guys typically look forward to?
Yes, definitely. I'm a big candy lover, so free candy is definitely something I've always loved. Yeah, and we actually had when I was younger, I had like a Halloween themed birthday party, which is fun, but then you realize that my birthday is in July, so it was an odd time of year, but it was fun. Yeah, I love Halloween.
Well, I love that because again, every day is Halloween for us, so that's right up
Totally.
our alley. A
Yeah,
July Halloween birthday party. That yeah,
yeah,
sounds perfect to me.
yeah, 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 it was fun.
And we always have to ask your favorite costume that you've worn, you say you're a candy person, so also we tack on your favorite Halloween candy.
Okay, yes. I was trying to think of my favorite costume. I feel like uh most of my childhood I did like pretty bad group costumes. Um, I remember in seventh grade I was like a nerd, which wasn't a real costume. It was like I think just like a mustache, maybe. I my middle school days, those costumes were my worst. But probably yeah, probably my best in a way too. But I really liked this year. I was Claire Danes from Romeo and Juliet, the Baz Luhrmann.
Yeah.
And that's always been one of my goal costumes to do. So I had fun with that.
Oh,
Um,
that sounds cool.
yeah, it was nice. And that it was cold, but it was nice. Um, and then my favorite candy is Twizzlers. It's a weird one, but yeah, I always love it. And it's a good thing to trade because most people want the chocolate. So I take the Twizzlers, I give them my chocolate.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, yeah. You can probably rack up on some of the trading.
Totally. Yeah, yeah. Mhm.
Awesome. I love that. Um, how about horror movies? Are you a fan? Because this movie that we're gonna talk about, Natty Knocks, it's a horror movie. To me, it kind of feels a bit like an old school horror movie from like the 80s or 90s a little bit, and directed by Dwight Little, who we our audience knows from Halloween 4 and Phantom of the Opera and stuff like that. But before getting involved in this movie, do you like scary movies?
Before getting involved in this movie, was the biggest scaredy cat. I really had not watched anything. I think like Willy Wonka even scared me. So I definitely tried to stay away. But since doing it, I've really found a love, and I'm open for any recommendations anybody has because I'm just starting to get into it. So yeah, it's fun.
Very cool. It's
Yeah.
been a gateway in a way, I guess.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Mhm.
Now, did when did you begin acting? When did you start to get into performing and know that this was something you wanted to get into?
Yeah, pretty young. I did like church plays when I was in
Hmm.
like preschool and kindergarten, and I think that's where I started performing. Um, but I started doing it professionally, I would say, in the past couple of years. I just graduated from college, so I'm really trying to do it now.
Awesome.
But
Yeah,
I've definitely always had a love for it, I think. Yeah.
very cool.
Mhm.
And Natty Knox, of course, it is your debut feature
Yeah,
film, and
yeah,
I mean you're basically the lead of the film. I
yeah.
mean you're in there with some heavyweight icons,
Hmm.
but but you and of course some of your other co-stars. We had Hannah on here a few weeks ago, and I just think everybody did great. And I mentioned Dwight Little, and we of course recognize him as kind of discovering Danielle Harris in a way with Halloween 4. She was so young and so great, and now she's become just this genre icon. And we've had the pleasure to talk to her a couple of times over the years and get to know a little bit about her. But I'm just in awe that Dwight was able to get such a talented young cast, because you guys are
Mhm.
really the ones carrying the movie, and then you've got Danielle, and of course the great Robert Englund, and of course the great Bill Moseley,
Mhm.
rounding out the cast is like these pillars of industry veterans, and then you guys, the younger group, are the ones really carrying it. So I'm wondering, first of all, about the casting. Like, what was the process? If you could walk us through a little bit
Mhm.
of
Totally.
getting the role of Britt, um, and then I'll ask a little bit about if you felt any pressure once you got the role, because I mean, you're kind of the lead in this film with
Mhm.
some a lot of screen time.
Yeah, totally. Definitely a lot of scenes in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it was my first film, so that was like a lot of pressure firstly. But I was in college when I got the role, and I was auditioning and doing school, so I was kind of not really thinking about it. And then I got the call that I got it, and I was like, "What? Got what?" Like I was doing my homework, I had no idea. And a funny story about it was actually so I'm in New Jersey, but in New York area, and they were looking for someone in LA because everyone else is from that area.
Mhm.
And Sandy, one of the producers and Dwight's partner, she told me that she was looking through the auditions and they kind of skipped over my audition because they didn't like the my headshot or like the screen cap or something. They kind of skipped over it and didn't really watch it. And they went through all of the auditions and they were like, we just can't find Britt. Like we can't like really get her. And so in like a last stitch effort, they just randomly watched my video and they were like, "Oh, that's her." Like we almost missed her. Like we almost
Yeah.
didn't watch her video. And of course she's in New York. She's on like the other side of the country. But yeah, I'm so grateful that they brought me out there and I got to do it with everyone. It was such a first movie experience I don't think I'll ever be able to top. It was really incredible.
Well, that is amazing. That again, they almost didn't even consider you just because of
Totally.
where you were located,
Yeah.
and they would have missed out on this
No.
perfect casting that they found.
Crazy.
Um, so then you get out there and you're shooting, and you said you're not a big horror fan, so I'm wondering, how familiar were you with some of these other, like I said, some of these genre icons that we fans just idolize so much. You obviously got to work a lot with Danielle and Bill, and of course Robert Englund there as well. Did you know much about them and their history in this genre, in this industry?
Yeah, I knew who they were. I didn't
Hmm.
quite know how special they were until I got the role and I started doing more research on who was in the cast. And I
Sure.
was like, what? What? I'm gonna be acting with these people. It was crazy. And meeting them was really surreal. But yeah, they were incredible the whole entire time. They were great.
And again, you got to work with our friend Danielle a lot, and I
Mhm.
mentioned how she started so young,
Yeah.
with Halloween 4, and has just become just this industry veteran now, like I said. And I asked Hannah a similar question, but was she able to like impart any advice or just tips or pointers to you while you guys were on set, because you did get to work pretty closely together in a lot of scenes.
Yeah, definitely. She I remember specifically she helped me with my scream a lot. Because I didn't get any training on that. I kind
Yeah.
of just went for it. And she was really helpful and really honestly just like hearing her scream is like a master class in itself. Like she's
Yeah.
so incredible. But it was really nice to have her and just hear about everything and Yeah, it was really, really lovely with them.
And probably cool too because it was a reunion of a lot of these
Yeah.
people and Jason James Richter too. I forgot to mention him. He worked with Dwight Little before as well, and Robert had worked with him. So they're all kind of
Mhm.
having this reunion after all these years. And so I guess that would probably add to that comfortability that
Yeah.
you found.
Yeah, a lot of people were there because of this like incredible cast and crew that he had
Yeah.
put together. There was just so much love and like you could really tell people really were passionate about making this, which was great.
And the story now, I mean, it's out now. I hope everybody has
Yeah.
watched Natty Knocks. If they
Mhm.
haven't, I recommend go watch it now.
Yeah.
It's out on digital outlets. It's out on DVD and Blu-ray and
Mhm.
all that stuff. But how would you describe the story if anybody's watching that still hasn't seen it? Like, what would you describe? Because there's a lot going on in this movie, but how would you describe it?
Yeah, I would say if you're looking for like a kind of what you said, like a 80s, 90s kind of slasher vibe, I think it's really great for the fall time. But I also think it's like a year-round movie that you can really enjoy if you're looking for something um horror-y, but there's also like a really great plot with the kids going in there.
Mhm.
Um and yeah, there's everything's in it. So if you're looking for that kind of movie, then yeah, definitely.
Well, like you said, there is a lot going on with it. I mean,
Yeah.
there's various subplots. Your character is like the babysitter and of this family that is going through. The parents are going through divorce, and it's just all this kind of drama that's not really right there central, but it's definitely
Right.
present and informs everything else going on. And then we get this slasher aspect of this
Mhm.
killer that starts coming in, and then there's that whole mythology. Um, I'm wondering what was the most challenging moment on set, or the most challenging part of playing this role. I mean, we talked a little bit about the pressure of just it being your first film, and obviously, one of the leads. Was that it, or what was the like most challenging part for you?
Yeah, I would say that was probably the biggest is just like my own imposter syndrome going into this.
Yeah.
Um, but once I got on set, it definitely was like very, very comfortable. And even the hard scenes, like the kissing scene was kind of funny because I totally felt comfortable, but it was like, oh my gosh, all these people, like I love them. Like I don't want to kiss in front of them. That's so embarrassing. But it was really great. I felt really comfortable. And yeah, there really wasn't that many scenes where I was like, too worried about. I just felt really like Dwight really was taking care of us, and I felt comfortable with whatever we were doing.
And again, I guess a lot of that comes from that experience. He's done
Yeah.
this so many times, and
Mhm.
another industry veteran, and
Mhm.
this genre too. It's kind of his wheelhouse, I feel like. So, and I did see some nods, just subtle nods to some of his other projects, like Halloween 4, which I know, audiences will probably pick up here and there some little stuff. And you got to work pretty closely with Bill Moseley too, somebody else who we're big fans of, and we know from throughout the convention circuit over the years and everything.
Mhm.
And he turns in another performance that I think is right up there with what his fans have come to expect. Very intense performance, and you are in some pretty intense scenes with him. Can you talk a little bit about filming those scenes?
Yeah, definitely. My first scene that I filmed was actually with him. It was in the police station. Um and I didn't meet him before we did our scene. And so the first time I was talking to him, he was this scary guy and I was like, "Oh my gosh, he's so serious. He's so like tense and scary." And then after the scene was over, we got to chatting and I was like, "Whoo, he is so kind." Like he is so sweet and inviting. He was really incredible, but he could just switch it on. Like he's yeah, incredible. He's great.
Yeah, I found that too. That whenever we've talked to him in person and met him, he's just so unlike the
Totally.
characters that he embodies so perfectly on
Yeah.
film that it is shocking that, oh my gosh, he's so different because he's so good as those characters.
Yeah, so good. Yeah, yeah, he's incredible. He's really great.
Now, again, with these icons on set, these veterans, were you able to talk to Bill any or Robert any off off camera and get any career advice or anything from them in that way?
Yeah, definitely. We had a couple conversations just hanging out on set. And they were really encouraging. It was really nice to see people who've been in this business for so long and still have like such a love for it and so many fond memories. And they really love the genre, and they really love the fans and people in it, which is really nice to be like kind of welcomed into this wonderful community. And yeah, they had just great things to say, which was nice. Yeah.
Yeah, and I do feel like this is the type movie that will, be kind of gradually discovered by audiences more and more over time. And I think they will, they'll kind of come into it maybe because of the big names, and then they're gonna find themselves that, oh, this is a whole full movie in itself, and they're doing, their jobs. But I mean, it's a lot. I think it offers more than maybe what some people might be expecting.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it does.
What was your favorite memory from the set?
Hmm. Um, a lot of great memories just with everybody. I would say the first night that I did like my scream scene with Bill was so fun. It was the most kind of spooky night that I had there. The whole movie I was like, this is a horror, like I'm not scared at all. Like I would forget and then I would see blood and I'd be like, oh right, you were right, forgive me. But that night it was crazy. The atmosphere was like so spooky, and it was really wonderful to just scream at the top of my lungs and do that for hours. It was very, very fun for me actually. So that was nice. Yeah.
That's awesome that was the funnest. And I love your story that you got scream lessons from a
Yeah.
scream queen, a certified scream queen, and you literally got scream lessons and
Yeah.
then put it to work right there with another genre legend. I mean that,
Right. Exactly.
and I think it worked. I think yeah,
Thank
I think you got that scream down.
Yeah.
I think that those pointers from Danielle worked, whatever she
Yeah,
said.
definitely helps. Yeah, she's definitely a good coach. Yeah.
And she's a great screamer, as we all know.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
she is. And again, she turns in great performances, as we always know. Like she and Bill and Robert, it doesn't even matter how much they're on screen. They're just always, you just know they're going to bring their A game every single time and make it even better than you can imagine. And that's the way I felt with this. And so to have getting to work, alongside with them, it's cool to hear that it was a little bit of a learning experience, and stuff that you'll
Yeah.
be able to take with you, because you're obviously just getting going on your career path, it sounds like.
Yeah. Yeah. No, definitely. I was learning something every single day I was there, which was great.
And it's a Halloween movie. It takes place on Halloween Eve, and there's a lot of Halloween atmosphere throughout, which we love, and costumes. And you guys go to a haunted house at a certain point. Can you talk a little bit about that? Just getting to film and it being Halloween, when I imagine you probably weren't filming around the Halloween season at all.
Yeah, no, we were filming in like kind of late spring, but where we were, it was kind of perfect atmosphere. It felt like early fall. The weather was kind of similar in a way.
Mhm.
And it was really fun. I love Halloween, so everybody dressing up, I think everyone had a lot of fun. I would say that the haunted house was very spooky. Like
Yeah.
the people in there were scary and they scared us really, really bad. Those are real screams when we were in there, but it was really fun, yeah, to do that.
Awesome. Yeah. So some of those jump scares in the haunted house are legit, it sounds like.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely real. Yeah.
So you finished filming this movie, and then obviously there's a wait period, and again, we covered it as soon as we heard about it, and Danielle actually had mentioned, I talked to her, I think it was right at the end of 2021. I think I talked to her, and she was very excited because you were about to film, and she was talking
Mhm.
about it. She couldn't talk about it other than to say it was going to be with Dwight Little, and it turned out to be Natty Knocks. And then we here at Halloween Daily, we watched it, get announced as, oh, this movie, here's the cast, and then there was this kind of wait period, and then it comes out this summer, and now it's out everywhere. Can you tell us about the first time you got to watch the finished film, and your thoughts, your reaction to it?
Yeah, definitely. It was at the premiere in LA in early June or
Hmm.
early July. And it was really wonderful. Yeah, we'd been, waiting for it and had such a wonderful experience, and we just, wanted to see it. And it was so nice. The was like sitting next to Hannah and Thomas and Owen and everybody. And it was just so nice to watch it a second time and like look at it and really enjoy it as a movie. But the first time I was watching it, I was just like, oh, this is so nice to see everyone on screen and like what we did. It was a lot of like pride, which was nice.
Very cool. Very
Yeah.
cool. And I, again, I think audiences, I don't know if you're getting feedback online, but I have been recommending it to our audience, and we've been hearing positive comments about it. So I do think it's going to be one of those movies that, horror fans and especially Halloween enthusiasts are going to
Yeah.
gravitate to. But like you said, it doesn't have to be Halloween to enjoy it. Certainly not for people like us when it's always Halloween anyway. So
Yeah. Yeah. Any time of the year. Feel free to watch.
do you have any other projects upcoming that you can speak about, and we can look forward to seeing you in?
Yes. I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about it, but in early January, I have a project coming out on Peacock. So I'll post about it and it'll be everywhere. But yeah, definitely soon.
Very cool.
Mhm.
Okay, well that sounds exciting. Yeah,
Yeah.
Peacock. That's no small gig there.
Yeah, yeah. It was definitely, yeah, and learning experience there too.
And of course, with Natty Knox and that ending, it's a pretty twisted ending, but it leaves it wide open for more, for a sequel. Any word on that, or if there were a phone call, would you be down to come back and do it again?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's such a wonderful team. There was definitely we had to stop ourselves from making like sequel conspiracy theories while we were on set, like
Right.
writing little storylines. But we'll see. I definitely love the franchise and yeah, everyone in it.
Awesome. Well, we really love the movie, and yeah, looking forward to seeing what you do next on Peacock, and yeah, looking for that Natty Part Two,
Yeah.
maybe down the road.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll have to get Dwight on that, right?
I know. Yeah.
Well, this has been awesome talking to you and learning more about your origin story, and like I said, I know our audience. We're going to be watching your career with great interest. And again, I recommend Natty Knox. It's out now. People should go rent it, stream it, or pick up a copy on disc. It's out on all the formats
Yeah,
right now.
everywhere. Yeah.
It's everywhere.
Yeah.
So again, Charlotte, this has been awesome. I can't thank you enough. And we hate to say goodbye, so we don't say goodbye since every day is Halloween. We're just going to say Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. Thank you so much for having me.